Hey everyone, today we're talking about one thing you can do in every single one of your projects that will really level up your audio and just make it sound crisp, clear, and it will just add that final polish that you're looking for. This is simply mastering. Maybe you know what that is, maybe you don't. If you've ever worked in or around the music industry, mastering is a super common term. It is essentially the final step of mixing a project. And it's basically taking all the elements that have been mixed together, had effects applied to them and all of that, and it's doing one kind of final mix, overarching everything. So it's on that last track that everything comes into, you're adding effects to basically tie everything together with a nice little bow. So within Premiere, this is actually a really easy thing to do. Just not everyone knows that this is even a function that is available. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through how you would actually go about mastering a project in Premiere. All right, so if you're looking to master a project that you're working on, here's how you would go about doing that in Premiere. First, I'll just play what the audio sounds like without any mastering, and we can see what our starting point is. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love film, if you love video production, if you love learning about it, seeing it, just being immersed in it, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel because so you can see it sounds pretty good to begin with. It's clear, everything's, you know, the music is mixed pretty well with the talking head audio from the previous video that we did. But there's a little bit that we can add to it. And so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to essentially, like, we have all these tracks down here, right? Like we have, you might be familiar with the old school version of doing it, of where you go and apply an effect to a specific clip, right? Where you click on a clip, you can go to your effects, you can drag on an EQ or something, right? And that's great. That works really well when, you know, you have a whole bunch of clips on your timeline and you just need to be able to add some effects to them really quickly. That's awesome. But the more in depth you get in projects, you'll start to probably use tracks as specific, putting effects on the tracks, so that you have for your whole talking head section, you have specific tracks on that and what have you. But you can actually, at the bottom here, there's this other track called mix, which is basically all the channels that come before it are kind of mixed into this one master channel. And so we can actually adjust what effects are on this master channel. And the way that we do that is we go under the audio track mixer. If you don't see this tab, you just go to Window, and then you can find it under these workspaces here. So we're under audio track mixer. And what we're going to do to start adding effects, you might not see all these sections here. And there's this little arrow right by the side here. If we drop that down, then we can see we have all these effects racks. And so if we go to the final track here, this is actually our master track. So if we go to our final track here, this is actually our mix, our master track. And so if we go up here, we're going to add some effects to it. And so naturally there will be nothing on this effects rack. And so we're gonna hit this little drop down and we are going to go under amplitude and compression. And we are going to do a single band compressor. And then we're also going to go under the same channel here, the same amplitude and compression, and we're gonna add a hard limiter. Now, the reason that we're adding these two effects is essentially when you have multiple tracks of audio, we want to balance all of that out the best that we can. And part of that was obviously mixing, adjusting our levels on the different tracks that we have going on. But to do that even further, we're basically adding compression and then limiting. Compression and limiting are similar but different. Essentially what they do is they level out the waveform that you have. And so if you have really quiet parts and really loud parts, it's gonna find a balance between them and level them out. At least that's kind of what compression does. Limiting just kind of has like a ceiling. Imagine it's just hitting a certain point, and anything above that threshold, it's just squashing that signal right down and not letting it get past that point. Whereas compression kind of like raises the lower transients, and it brings down the higher transients and finds a middle ground. And so we're going to use a pairing of the two of these to level everything out. And we're going to notice the two things is that things are going to get or seem like they get a little bit louder, and then everything's just going to feel like it fits together a little bit more cohesively. And so when I'm doing mastering, because videos are a lot of work, I try to keep my workflow as simple as possible. So I just actually use presets. And so if we go under the single band compressor, I'm just going to go down and hit radio leveler. And then under hard limiter, I'm just going to go down and select light. And so we're using settings that aren't going to butcher, they're not going to butcher our audio that we have and the mixing that we've done. It's just going to lightly kind of make it feel a little bit more balanced. And so when I play back now, maybe you won't be able to remember what it sounded like before, but if you do remember what it sounded like, you'll tell that it does sound a little bit more polished, and it has more perceived output to it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love film, if you love video production, if you love learning about it, seeing it, just being immersed in it, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel because that's what we're all about. I think it's like 80 to 90. Then we'll do again as it was before. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love film, if you love video production, if you love learning about it, seeing it. So it's not a huge difference, right? Like we're not trying to like squash the crap out of our audio to the point where it just sounds fake and it sounds like you can hear that compression really acting up. We just want it to feel a little bit more natural. We want the balance between the music and the dialogue that we have to feel like it has its own space. And literally what's happening is when the audio of my voice is peaking, it's bringing that down. And when the audio of the music is a little bit quieter, it's actually bringing that up a little bit. And so everything's leveling out. And you can obviously go way too far with this, right? You can squash it to the point where there's no dynamics, and we don't want that. But what we do want is just for things to be a little bit more consistent and cohesive, so that when you're listening, it feels natural. It feels like there's nothing that surprises us, that distracts us as far as the volume of anything and how it's mixed together. So that is how you would go about mastering a project in Premiere. Hopefully that made sense. If you have any questions, go ahead, leave a comment down below. I would love to get back to you on that. But if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something from it, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, like it, ring the notification bell, all of that good stuff, and we will see you in the next video.